Hi everybody, we're going to do an easy peasy afternoon dinner. So there's nothing hard about it. We're gonna make some white rice. This is pretty easy. We're gonna saute some white onion. When it gets soft, we're gonna add the rice and just stir it up a bit. You're gonna see the white rice turn into like a brighter white for like just a minute. And then we're gonna add water and spices, and that's about it. So there's nothing to it. No, I came up with this because I don't know how to make like actual white rice. So I just kind of went with how I make the Spanish rice and just didn't add tomato. And then it turns out pretty good. So hopefully you like it. And add some oil just to cover the bottom of the pan. And cut up about a third of an onion. And dice it into like little bigger pieces, just so everything blends into the white rice and you can't really tell that there's onion in it. So we're just gonna let that soften a little bit, become transparent. Get rid of this stuff here. It's almost done. Gonna add garlic salt. We're gonna add some caldo de pollo, chicken bouillon, and that's about it. Water. So we're gonna let the hot water run. gonna guess that's about 2 cups of rice. Sounds about right. It's about 2 cups of rice. And just stir it around to make sure that all the rice gets coated with oil. I think that's what keeps it separate, so it doesn't clump together. I usually use just a teaspoon to add spices. I don't measure stuff, but that's alright. I mean, we all cook like that, I think. Get a cup. I didn't really feel like cooking today, and I had bought a couple of roast chickens. So I'm just gonna basically, you know, cut them up and add some gravy, add some peas, and cook it all together and pour the gravy over the rice. And that's dinner for today. On Spanish rice, you would let this cook, or let the rice, you know, toast till it gets like a little brown. We don't want this brown. So we're going to add hot water. Two cups. Four cups. I'm going to add 5 cups. Now we're going to add some garlic salt. Just until, you know, it starts to stay on top of the water. It doesn't melt in there. Then I get 2 heaping teaspoons. 1, 2. That's about it. Stir it up. And we're going to let it come to a boil, and when it does, then we're going to turn down the fire till it's almost out. Cover it and just leave it alone for like 20 minutes. Don't look at it, don't touch it. If you want good rice, that's what you have to do. So in the meantime, This is the roast chicken that I just tore apart into big pieces. You know, tear off the leg, tear off the thighs, and stuff like that. So I'm gonna nuke it for a couple of minutes. And this is nothing fancy. This is just a chicken gravy jar that we're going to pour in here. And add about another jar of water like this. And we're going to let it cook. Just stir it all up till it dissolves. Okay, now the water is boiling in here. You're going to taste it just to make sure it's got enough chicken bouillon and everything. Good. I'm going to cover it, turn down the fire really low, and that's it. We'll check again in 20 minutes. Okay, now we got the gravy with the water. I'm going to add a little flour because it looks a little watery. Okay, I'm going to let it heat up a little bit first though. Because if you add it when it's cold, it's just going to kind of sit there. So when you add the flour, stir everything really fast so everything dissolves and you don't get any lumps. And I hear my chicken is done. Turn it up a little bit. I think I'm going to add a little bit of pepper. Okay, it's starting to saute. You see the little bubbles coming? Almost time to add the flour. I want to make enough gravy so when I put the chicken in, it covers the chicken. And the reason I nuked the chicken so it wouldn't take as long to cook. I tell you, this is an easy meal, fast meal. You don't have to roast the chicken and wait an hour and a half and do all that. Just go to the store and buy a roasted chicken. You could even just do it like that, you know, tear it apart, nuke it a little bit, put it in a frying pan. You could pour barbecue sauce over it and then let it cook like that. In about 15 minutes, you got a meal. Okay, I'm gonna put a heaping tablespoon and a half. And just quickly stir it around so all the gravy absorbs all the flour. Just keep stirring. I like to make gravy, just buying a regular chicken at the store and roasting it with just salt and pepper and all the juices that it releases. I like to make the gravy with that. It's so good. Needs a little salt. I'm going to add about a cup of water. That doesn't get too thick. And I think I'm going to add about a teaspoon of bouillon, just to give it a little bit more flavor. And this is how I cook, just by adding stuff, and you taste it. If it tastes good, leave it alone. If it doesn't, try to fix it. That tastes good. So we're gonna add the chicken pieces. We're going to add a can of sweet peas. And as usual with our beautiful Chicago weather, I hear the frozen rain hitting the windows. I thought we were all done with that. I guess not. So just drain the water. Pour it over the chicken. think I'm going to add another cup of water because the gravy's getting a little thick. That's it. Going to cover it up for about 5 minutes. And then about the time the chicken is done, the rice should be done. And you can grab a plate. I was going to make flautas, but the oil and all that stuff seemed like too much trouble for today, and I think comfort food was in order. Just put all this stuff away. Clean up some of this stuff here. So I don't know if anybody wants to learn how to make specific things. Like I could teach you how to make Spanish rice, or we could go through the steps of making beans from scratch, pinto beans, or we can do chiles rellenos, which is a process. It's almost as much of a pain in the butt as making tamales. And caldo, like a beef soup. That takes about 3 hours though, so I'd have to do that like in sections to show you. Or anything else that you might be interested in. Send me a messenger note and we'll see what we can do. I'm doing this because, you know, like all of us when we first got married, like me ages ago, we didn't really know how to cook or who to ask. And so you start thinking about watching your mom and the things that she added. And of course, it's a lot of trial and error. And you have a new husband that has to eat your cooking and not complain. Which that happened a lot, like the first 8 months I was married. Oh, it was terrible. 'Cause some stuff I couldn't even eat, so I could just, you know, go get a hot dog or something. But after a while, you know, you get to be better at it, and you learn to tell what spices work with others, and maybe don't add that when, you know, when you have comino, don't add something else. Otherwise, you're going to get a really weird flavor. But over time, you learn. So I made menudo a couple of times in my life, pozole I never made, but then I developed this soup with neck bones and pork that's kind of like pozole, but it's more of a consistency of menudo, so it's like a cross between the two dishes. And it's pretty good. And I add fresh green beans and hominy to it and some potatoes toward the end. And it's good. So just different things. One thing I'm going to make, when I go to buy some chicken, to get a roasting pan. This is an oven dish. So you layer the chicken, you put just a little bit of pepper, garlic salt, and then on top of that you layer tomatoes, sliced onion, some butter pads all over it, and lemon or lime. And you let it cook for like an hour and a half. Well, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. And pull it out, and you add I add about 8 cans of green beans, and I stir everything up, and I stick it back in the oven for another 45 minutes. So when you take it out of the oven, it is so good, and the green beans just, absorb all the flavors and everything, and I can't get enough of it. But I'll make that another day, because again, that's like a 2.5 hour dish. But that you gotta try. And it's just learning what flavors you like, what flavors you don't, stuff like that. So by having a roasted chicken from the store, this dish was cut, in half the time than it would normally take by roasting a chicken on your own and then making the gravy and the whole bit. So good. See how you're doing. No, not done yet. I'll raise the heat just a tiny bit. So this is what I do when I have leftover onion. Let's get the bag open. I just put it in one of these and put it in the fridge for next time. So I hope you try this, because it's really good and it's quick. It took me about half an hour to make it with the rice and this and the chicken and delicious gravy, and you're done. It's Saturday afternoon. Get some crunchy bread, a little bit of butter, make some melon juice if you want, and you got yourself a good meal. So I'll show you what it looks like once it's done. That's done. I'll show you what it looks like. So that's my chicken and gravy. I don't know if you could see it well. like that. That's what it looks like. So the peas, I don't put too many, just enough to, you know, give it a little extra kick. But the gravy is really good. Tastes great. Chicken is done. Everything's piping hot. And then this is the rice. So we got white rice. So you put your chicken, some white rice on the side, and pour some gravy all over both of them. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you try it. And let me know how yours turned out, if you liked it or not. Thanks. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.